We live in incredible times. Technology has advanced to a level where it almost seems like science fiction, and all sorts of robots and machines are being invented to make workers' lives easier. The unexpected side effect of this, however, is that the people who make things with their hands even better than robots are becoming internet famous for it, and for good reason. These are some workers with seriously gifted hands. Let's get it on! If there's two things on earth that you need skill to work with, it's perfect dumplings and easily broken egg yolks. Mix the two and it should create something impossible to handle, unless you have hands as gifted as this chef. I'm willing to bet that if any of us tried encasing several egg yolks in a dumpling, pretty much all of it would end up on the floor. This person has skills beyond our wildest dreams, and not only do they achieve that impossible task, but they make it look beautiful too. Everyone knows what cotton candy on a stick looks like. It only has one shape, and if you've ever worked with a cotton candy machine, you'll know exactly why. But no matter how temperamental the medium is, there will be someone gifted enough to work out how to turn it into art, as this man is proving. He's shown that machine who's boss and worked out how to get the cotton candy to go exactly where he wants it to, so he can sculpt it into something beautiful. It's a minor miracle, but he's really good at it. Pretty much any job that calls for precision is done by robots these days. Most humans just don't have the kind of steady hands needed to execute that job as well as a machine can. But there isn't a robot on Earth that could replace this barber's amazingly accurate lines. Each one is perfectly straight, so precise you couldn't ask for more. And they also conform to the shape of each man's face in a way that probably could never be replicated by a robot who can't tell one person from another. Sometimes you just need a human touch. We all know those fancy concrete details on nice houses, right? You probably presume they're made by robots these days. Well, maybe you're right sometimes, but it doesn't seem like a good way of getting them, especially when workers like this exist. Sure, you could probably find a factory-made version of this finishing, but if you thought about what it would cost you to ship it to your building site, that money could almost definitely pay this man to do the entire entrance of your house in this kind of elaborate style, and exactly the way you wanted it. You'd be right if you thought that most ceramics are mass-produced in factories these days, but for centuries, everything made from clay was produced by real people. The art hasn't died, it's just not done by as many people, but ceramicists like these men still exist. Here, they're carefully producing a huge water vat from over 1,000 pounds of clay. You just don't think that it would be possible for people to take on a project of that size, but these guys work together so effectively to make that happen. And by the way, this is only the bottom third of the vat that they're working on. We all know how difficult it is to cut up a pineapple. Every time you try, you come away thinking you're never going to bother again. To master something so unnecessarily difficult takes serious skill, and that's what this man has. He can clean and chop up a whole pineapple in a matter of just seconds, like it's no big deal at all, even though we all know it's a pretty tricky thing to do. He also manages to waste almost nothing, which probably makes him better than any machine designed to do this, and it comes out looking like the pineapple of your dreams. Those are definitely gifted hands. A beautiful house can be made in many ways, but this kind of decoration requires a special kind of skill that construction workers usually don't possess. All they need is a template and some concrete, and they can create the most intricate, beautiful wall decoration you could ask for. It takes a steady hand, a lot of accuracy, and attention to detail that only a gifted worker would possess, and you can see that in the results. These men are clearly masters of their craft. You wouldn't see any machine make a better version of this than they do. When you want to build a sandcastle, the first thing you do is go out and buy one of those buckets made by a factory machine. That's how you get the best results, right? Well, no. Have a look at these people who make the most amazing sand sculptures by hand. There's not a castle-shaped bucket on Earth that could help you create something as beautiful and detailed as these sculptures. They can make anything out of sand, from animals and human figures to whole landscapes, just with their hands, their imagination, and probably loads and loads of practice. There are machines designed to weave all kinds of things these days, from cloth to, of course, baskets. But have you ever wondered what it takes to weave a beautiful basket by hand? Precision and skill is the answer. Of course, people do still weave baskets and all kinds of other things by hand, but those people are specialists these days and often take it to an art form you'd never see in a factory-made basket. As you can see, it's not easy and requires a lot of patience, care, knowledge, and gifted hands to achieve a beautiful basket like this. Wood is most often used to make furniture, not works of art. Factory-made ornaments are usually made in an easily molded material like clay, plaster, or resin, not wood. So these little wooden animals are really special. It takes a lot of skill to create a 3D photorealistic animal out of wood, even though these skilled people make it look pretty effortless, from carving them, creating their detailed features, and finishing them so they're super shiny. There are only a few people on Earth with hands gifted enough to create something like that from a simple block of wood. Of course, there are machines designed specifically to cut plants to perfect proportions. Unfortunately, none of those machines are more accurate than these men. Sure, they have hedge trimmers, which probably speeds up the process, but that's not what we're looking at here. We're looking at how straight the hedges are when they're finished, how accurately they can judge where to place their tools, and how clean the edges are when they're finished. Their accuracy is something most of us could only dream of. These men really are experts at work. It won't surprise you to learn that glass blowing is a specialized craft. Any art made out of what is essentially molten lava is going to require skills that only very few gifted people on Earth will be able to learn and master. Aside from the deadly hot medium, the process isn't exactly easy either. It takes a lot of patience and careful handling of the glass at times when it's so hot you can't touch it even a little. It's a dangerous job only for gentle hands and eyes that can spot detail. Of course, things don't need to come out looking especially beautiful to be considered well executed. Plenty of workers who do everyday things are highly skilled and don't get the recognition they deserve because all they're doing is painting a wall or something like that. But as this man proves, there's painting a wall, and then there's painting a wall like a pro. It takes some serious skill to use a paint roller in a way that stops it ever running out of paint, which I would have said is impossible before seeing this video. Everyone wants a beautifully decorated house, but most people just buy a painting to hang on their wall. Jana Bickert had a different idea. Just make the wall beautiful. She can turn any wall into a bas relief masterpiece without changing the actual surface. It looks like she can create almost 3D murals of pretty much anything you can think of, and she does them absolutely expertly. It's a mystery how her brain can work out how to create that kind of artwork, and even more of a mystery how her hands manage to execute such intricate works of art in such an unusual medium. There are machines to do pretty much everything these days, but not this. Shintaro Okamoto is a world champion ice sculptor. He can create pretty much anything out of ice. These aren't your fruit-shaped ice cubes you have in your freezer. They're masterful sculptures of just about anything you can imagine. It's almost impossible to believe that power tools as huge as a chainsaw can be used to create such detailed sculptures, but it seems in the right hands, just about anything is possible. And Okamoto has the most gifted hands in the business. Most people have painted on an eggshell at one point in their life, but none of us have ever turned an eggshell into a work of art. This is eggshell carving. It's probably the most impossible kind of art you can imagine because of how easy it is to break the canvas. And let's not forget, an eggshell isn't a flat surface. It's much more difficult to create beautiful illustrations on something round than on a flat piece of paper. This is an art form that takes some seriously skilled hands.